school in New York, in a very rural county, Westchester County, Bedford, New York.
No way.
Yeah.
That's where I was born. I was born in Pelham, New York.
Seriously?
Yeah, I was born and started middle school down here.
Yeah. It was a very trying time in that part of the country in the late 60s, early 70s. And I found myself lost in the public high school that I was zoned to go to, maybe making some poor decisions. So I asked my parents if I could go to John F. Kennedy High School, and my dad said if you pay the tuition. Got a job at Friendly's, went to JFK, not even being a Catholic, and found the guidance that I needed that maybe I wasn't getting at home. I was the youngest of three. My brother and sister were nowhere, to be found when I was growing up. A lot of big age gap. So I found what I needed there, and I had a guidance counselor that sent me to South Bend, Indiana. And I played basketball and fast pitch my first year, almost failed out. And then I said, okay, got to focus on one sport. So I focused on basketball, worked for sports information, and I was actually in the press box when they carried Rudy off the field.
Wow.
So
Fun fact.
I was at Notre Dame with years that were amazing years. Joe Montana was our quarterback.
I grew up
national
idolizing
championship.
Tony Rice.
There you go. I was lucky enough to coach at Byram Hills High School. So I was a basketball, volleyball, and fast pitch coach right out of college. And then I was recruited to a high school that was my rival high school to be a math teacher and coach there. And then I relocated to Central Florida in '82.
Okay.
So I was teaching and coaching at Lyman for many, many years. Started to learn through the National ADs Association, through their coursework that they had. And event management is something that I really love. And I like looking at all the details, and I want people to be comfortable, but also see, we really want it to be special for our families. And I felt the community here at Brantley that I felt when I was in high school. And red, white, and blue, how do you go wrong?
Yeah.
And so then, luckily, I raised multi-sport athletes. So I got to all the venues with my kids, and I got to experience that with them. And then when Bob Peterson retired, I decided to apply for the AD job. And so I've been the AD since '06. What's the community, though?
Yeah.
I mean, when I go to somebody with an idea and they're like, let's do it, how invigorating is that? All right, so now I have a team. I couldn't do this by myself.
Yeah, but it starts with you.
Well, and
you got to see it all the way through.
Someone's got to love it.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for the next person.
Yes.
That's the AD. I learned so much from Bob about helping athletes play at the next level by picking the right school first, and then finding the right program and what to look for. So I hope I've built on his legacy with that. And then kind of started my own where we make the event special. Thank you for pointing that out. That's a huge compliment. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I want people to come and have fun and feel welcomed.
Yeah.
And we appreciate when someone comes back after so many years. We will definitely find room for you, absolutely. And that's the hospitality and what's going to keep our school going. But I got to teach somebody the history. Let's get going.
Yeah.
So when I first discussed with my husband applying to be the AD, I said I would like to feel welcomed, and have coaches that come to our school know me and feel welcomed like I have felt at certain high schools. So I would, we would discuss what I saw at other high schools, what they were doing well. I said, when the AD comes over and says, Coach Kelly, it's nice to see you again. Whoa, that's somebody that knows their community, know who's coming, you feel welcomed. That's what I want to try to do. Yeah. So I was kind of a crazy woman and at everything and all the time. It's amazing I'm still married. But luckily my daughters were graduated or almost graduated by the time I was hired. My son suffered through a lot of his mother not being around very much. But I needed to learn the history. And besides living in the community now for well over 30 years, that part was easy because the people knew me and that was easy. but I wanted to learn the history of our athletes from before I was here. And then as I went to different workshops, and I went to a national workshop once in Indianapolis, and I sat in on how to start a Hall of Fame. And I'm like, whoa, Brantley doesn't have that. That's something that I could make happen before I retire. So I went to one or two more, conferred with some of my friends here in the state that I really trust and totally respect, and we shared ideas. So then I put together a committee, and we got our policies and procedures in place, got that approved, and it took 2 years to get the first one off the ground, because I didn't want it to be here's your plaque at a football game.
Yeah, I want it to be special.
I want it to be really, really special, and an event that people wanted to go to, and that we could actually have downtime together, not rushing because the officials are back on the field, which I've seen happen at other places. But I wanted them to come to a game, so that's where we got the idea to introduce at a game so they can see what it's like now at Brantley, bring them back home, so to speak. But then have a night where we could honor them and no one's rushed, and just share some of the stories, what makes this community strong. So that first one, it had to be right. And boy, was I crazy about it being right. Dotting the I's, crossing the T's. I wanted it to be super special because I thought that would help it keep going. And knowing that I was nearing retirement, we got to get a few of these under our belt so that I can get some people buying in and loving it as much as I do. So COVID has tested us, and we're, moving forward, obviously, with the January date. And some people that were amazing to Lake Brantley need to be honored in person, not just with a press release. We need to make this happen.
Yeah, that's good.
So I could just add that I've been pretty much, we've got to get the history in first to the Hall of Fame. We've had some amazing athletes in the 2000s, flat out amazing. And those are the ones that I really know, obviously, that I had a personal relationship with. It's not that they shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, but I don't want to lose our history. We just started it. We opened our doors in 72. That's a lot of history, 72 to 1999.
Yeah.
Those are the people that got it started for us. So let's get those stories
You're not
out
skipping
there.
Steps. You've done a great job.
So we want to, and boy, have I gotten a lot of conversations because of that. How could you not? I'm like, come in my
Everyone's
office.
always going to have
I love
something
that
to say.
athlete.
Yeah.
I've got a picture of that person on my wall. Of course they're going to be in the Hall of Fame.
What's the part of the night that means the most to you?
I think observing, like you said, like the whole room, and the people happy to see each other.
We did this.
Yeah. Or just like last year, some of the meaningful things that some of our athletes had to say about the community and what it meant to them, and their thoughts for the future, warning parents about the future, really. I worry about single sport athletes burning out. If it wasn't for the multi-sport introduction that I had when I was a middle school with some unbelievable PE teachers that saw some potential, put a tennis racket in my hand, had me play field hockey, soccer, basketball, gymnastics was a nightmare, but all the different things that you were introduced to. What a amazing middle school program to have all of those sports be part of what they showed you, and then to even play an intramural program so you could get that game experience. So when you think about how old I am and how introduced to athletics I was, I started playing basketball when it was 6 on a court, and two couldn't cross the center line. To 5-man, and then the ball shrunk when I started coaching. Where was that ball when I was an athlete? So just the seeing everybody come together, share the stories, where they've all come from, learn a little bit about each other's past, and just to have a vision for the future. Yeah. That's the best part to me, our coaches in the room, that means a lot.
Yeah, I could tell you that The feedback I get the most from all the different people I've talked to over the 3 years that I've been to is they love seeing the young coaches there. And that's, again, it's a tribute to you because you're the athletic director.